All right, let's talk about CSS. We're diving into the secret sauce, the superpowers that make every single beautiful website you visit actually look good. We're going to pull back the curtain on how plain code gets turned into a visual masterpiece. Let's get into it. So, have you ever really thought about it? How do websites know how to look good? You load up a page and it's not just some boring wall of text, right? It's got colors, layouts, cool animations. None of that happens by accident. It is all very much by design. The best way to wrap your head around this is to think of yourself as a digital architect. HTML, that's your blueprint. It's the raw structure of the building, the walls, the floors, the rooms. But CSS, that's the magic. That's the paint, the furniture, the lighting. It's what turns a boring structure into a place you actually want to be. So in this explainer, we're going to unlock 4 of these CSS superpowers. First, we'll get into managing family relationships in your code. Then we'll cook up some interactive magic tricks. After that, we'll focus on perfecting the tiny details. And finally, we'll figure out how to organize huge amounts of content. First up, CSS family relationships. And we're going to do this using something called combinators. See, before you can style anything, you have to tell the browser exactly what you want to change. And to do that, you got to understand how all the pieces of your website are related to each other. And that's exactly where combinators come in. They're basically just special symbols that define the relationship between different parts of your code. Honestly, it's like building a family tree for your website, figuring out who the parents are, who the kids are, and who the siblings are. Okay, let's start with the most common relationship, parents and kids. First, we have the descendant selector, which is just a space. If you write div p, you're basically shouting, hey, style all the paragraphs anywhere inside this box. That means children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, everyone. But if you use the child combinator, that little greater than symbol, you're being way more specific. Div greater than p only selects the direct children. It ignores the grandchildren. That's the key difference. Of course, not everything is a parent-child situation. You also have siblings. They share the same parent and they sit right next to each other in the code. But one isn't tucked inside the other. And yep, we have ways to select them too. So this table kind of puts it all together. The space gets any descendant. The greater than sign gets only the direct child. Now for the siblings. That little tilde symbol selects all the siblings that come after it, while the plus sign is super specific. It only grabs the one that's immediately next door. Once you get these 4 down, you have incredibly precise control over your styles. Let's move on to our next superpower, and this is where things get really fun. We're talking interactive magic tricks, which are really just something called pseudo-classes. This is how we make our websites feel alive. So what the heck is a pseudo-class? Well, it's just a keyword you add to your code that applies styles only when an element is in a special state. And a special state is just something the user is doing, like hovering their mouse over a button or clicking on a link. And the magic here is actually so simple. You've got a button just sitting there in its normal state. But the moment a user moves their mouse over it, poof, the hover pseudo-class kicks in and suddenly you can make that button change color, get bigger, wiggle, pretty much anything you can imagine. It's instant feedback. And hover is just the tip of the iceberg. With link and visited, you can show users which links they've already clicked on. Super helpful. Active gives you that little flash of feedback the exact moment you click. And not, this one is a game changer. It lets you select everything except for what's in the parentheses. It's like saying, style all my buttons, but not this specific one. Things get really clever with nth child. This thing lets you select elements based on their order in a list. You know when you see a table with those nice stripes where every other row is a different color to make it easy to read? That's nth child odd or nth child even at work. It's an amazing way to create clean, readable patterns automatically. So we've defined relationships, we've added interactivity. Time for superpower number 3, perfecting the details with pseudo elements. These are different because they let us style a specific part of an element instead of the whole thing. Check this out. Say you've got a headline, but you want to give it that fancy, old-timey magazine look where the first letter is huge and stylized. You don't need any special code. You just use the dash first letter pseudo element and bam, instant elegance. It's the same idea for the first line of a paragraph. Using dash first line, you can make it bold or a different color. And the best part is, it's totally dynamic. If you resize your browser and the words reflow, the style automatically jumps to whatever the new first line is. It's so smart. Okay, this is where it gets really fun. The dash before and dash after pseudo elements let you add content directly from your CSS that isn't even in your HTML. So you could add a little checkmark emoji before every item in a list, or maybe an apple emoji after the word apple. It's perfect for adding those little decorative touches without cluttering up your code. All right, final superpower. We've mastered the small details, now let's think about the big picture. Organizing content by building pagination. This is absolutely essential for any site that has tons of articles, products, or whatever else. So what even is pagination? It's really simple. It's just the process of breaking up a super long document into smaller, bite-sized pages. You know, just like flipping through a book. It keeps people from having to do that endless scroll of doom. And building it is surprisingly straightforward. First, you make a container to hold everything. Second, you add your links, one for each page number, and probably some handy previous and next arrows. And third, you just use CSS to make those plain old links look like a nice, clean set of buttons. Now, how does the user know which page they're on? Easy. That's where a special class comes in. You can create a class called, say, .active, and you just apply it to the link for the current page. Then, in your CSS, you give that .active class a unique style, maybe a different background color, so it stands out from the rest. And this is where it all comes together beautifully. Remember those pseudo classes from before? We can combine them. We can write a rule that says, when someone hovers over a page number, make it light up, but use not to exclude the one that's already active. It creates a super intuitive experience, a perfect blend of organization and interactivity. And there you have it. Those are the 4 core superpowers of a CSS architect. You've learned the secrets to defining relationships with combinators, creating interactive magic with pseudo classes, perfecting the details with pseudo elements, and finally, organizing your content with pagination. These tools are the absolute foundation of modern web design. They give you the power to take a simple document and turn it into something beautiful, interactive, and easy to use. So now the only question left is, you're the architect. What are you going to build?